afternoon. My name is Emma Buchanan, and thank you for tuning in to What's Up Chicago, where we cover everything from politics to entertainment. Joining me today is Tava Samet, covering sports news, as well as Katie McDonald with the weather. Tava and Katie, what can we look forward to today?
Well, Emma, tonight we have some highlights from last night's NFL season opener, having the Denver Broncos facing the Super Bowl champions, Baltimore Ravens.
For the weekend weather, grab your raincoat and your umbrella because it looks like a rainy one.
A lot to look forward to. In recent political news, the vote for whether or not the United States Congress will support President Barack Obama's call for military action against Syria for its recent use of chemical weaponry is being influenced by the upcoming presidential elections in 2016. Possible Democratic and Republican White House contenders see Syria as a chance to craft political messages and build up a platform. The vote, which is to take place sometime next week, will determine a plan of action for the U.S. against Syria, but will also have an impact on how the U.S. public will view potential presidential candidates. The United States plan for Syria is not just a national interest. International support for President Barack Obama's call for military action has received mixed responses. However, Denmark has shown support for action against the Syrian government. Reporters Beatrice Lopez and Danielle Dolgen are on site in Odense, Denmark, to see how the Danish population feels about the issue. Beatrice?
On September 2nd, Denmark officially announced its contribution of 25 million Danish kroner to the Syrian Recovery Trust Fund. We are on the streets of Odense asking locals what their opinion is on Denmark showing support for the U.S. and possible intervention in the Syrian crisis.
What is your opinion about the Danish government's involvement in the Syrian crisis?
Well, they're at least trying to do something, I would say. And they're kind of waiting, according to the military actions that might take place in the future. But at least they're trying to take care of, the civilians in Syria. Yeah?
Do you think the United States should intervene?
Well, they haven't had much success with the intervenience, in Afghanistan and so. So I'm not quite sure about that, the big military actions that they are helping actually. So I'm just like the government. I'm just, I just don't know really if it would do any good.
It reminds me very much about last time when George Bush went into Iraq and the way that the Danish government at that time backed him up. And I think this situation looks as if we're going to do that again.
Back to you, Emma.
Thank you, Danielle and Beatrice. And now in recent financial news, Turkey's economy drops to a record low as U.S. threat of attack looms over neighbor Syria. Turkey's stock index lost 1/3 of its value since hitting a record high 4 months ago. Investigators were also nervous about the hostile rhetoric in Ankara towards foreign capital and the Prime Minister's heavy response towards anti-government protests. Turkey's central bank is failing to stem the declines despite spending more than 15% of their net reserves, and billions of dollars have exited the country. Chief Turkish economist Mert Yildiz released a statement saying the days when Turkey was considered a market darling are over and the government is in for a bumpy ride. Turkey is either set for a pronounced crisis or years of slow growth that will feel like recession. On a lighter note, the entertainment world is buzzing with recent news since Russell Brand caused commotion with a controversial acceptance speech after accepting the Oracle Excellence Awards at the GQ Man of the Year ceremony.
Also glad to grace the stage where Boris Johnson has just made light of the use of chemical weapons in Syria, meaning that GQ can now stand for Genocide Quips. If any of you that know a little bit about history and fashion will know that Hugo Boss made the uniforms for the Nazis. And the Nazis did have flaws, but, they did look fantastic.
Russell Brand was reportedly kicked out of the award show in London last Tuesday night in response to the offensive comments made. But this is not the first time the English actor and comedian has caused a scene at an award ceremony. In 2012, Brand hosted the MTV Movie Awards, where he expressed his views on democracy, claiming it was a pointless spectacle that represents the interests of the powerful business elites that run the world. And now we go to Tava, who has updates on current sports news.
Last night, the NFL season kicked off with a showdown between the Baltimore Ravens and the Denver Broncos. Peyton Manning led the Broncos to a 49-27 victory over the defending Super Bowl champs, with an NFL record tying 7 touchdown passes, as well as 462 passing yards. New addition to the team, former New England Patriot Wes Welker impressed Denver fans with 2 touchdown catches in his first game in the Mile High City. Julius Thomas and Demaryius Thomas also caught 2 touchdowns each for the Broncos. Joe Flacco threw for 362 yards while giving up 2 interceptions in the loss. Denver was finally able to get revenge after their Super Bowl hopes were crushed in last year's playoffs when the Ravens eliminated them in a double overtime game. The rest of the NFL teams are set to start their seasons this weekend. Be sure to check out your Bears on Sunday as they take on the Cincinnati Bengals. Other games to watch include last year's Super Bowl contenders, the San Francisco 49ers hosting the Green Bay Packers, while the New York Giants are set to play the Dallas Cowboys. Now here's Katie to tell us what's happening in the skies.
Thanks, Tava. Tonight is looking beautiful with a low of 59 and winds at 5 to 10 miles per hour. The sun sets at 7:18 p.m. and with almost no clouds in the sky, you'll get a clear view of the moon tonight. Across the greater Midwest, tomorrow looks like a typical early September day. In the surrounding states, Des Moines, Iowa has a high of 98, while Detroit has a much cooler temperature of 83. Our Chicago football rival, Green Bay, kicks off the weekend with a high of 83 compared to a similar 84 degrees in Columbus. Chicago comes in with just a few degrees higher at 88. But with the weekend of Chicago festivals coming up, I'm sad to say that tomorrow is going to be rainy, humid, and hot. Highs in the upper 80s with isolated thunderstorms may send outdoor lovers searching for cover. Grab your ponchos and waterproof your cameras if you're heading to the Lyric Opera in Millennium Park tomorrow. Monday looks much more dry with highs in the low 80s, but Tuesday and Wednesday also have a chance of showers. Let's hope that the rest of the week gives us a break from the water and a chance to enjoy all the outdoor activities our city has planned. Back to you, Emma.
Thanks, Katie. On an end note, we hope that you will be able to enjoy the wonderful festivals happening all around Chicago this weekend, rain or shine. I'm Emma Buchanan, and thank you for tuning in this afternoon here on What's Up Chicago.